Please welcome to the stage Giacom's Chief Operating Officer, Nathan Marke.
Morning, everybody. Thank you very much for coming. I'm feeling a bit daunted being in the Alan Turing Lecture Theatre. I hope he wasn't here. God, standing on the shoulders of giants and all that. Right, so Dale gave me 20 minutes today, and when we were talking about this, he said, Nath, what I want you to do is stand in front of all of our partners and give them a pitch on why Giacom for all IP. I was like, oh, God, no. I'm not going to be forgiven for that, so I've changed the title of it. I'm going to do a little bit of why Giacom for all IP at the end, but what I'm going to actually focus on is this. What that says is the great switch off is a customer switch off. Switch them on with all IP. Because I think we got a problem, and it's going to be very apparent as we go through today that we've got a problem with the switch off, haven't we? I don't want to steal too much of James's thunder, but I think we're 40% of the way through the swap out, but we're 5 years through a 7-year transition. Maths doesn't add up, does it? There's a real problem that we got at a national level about how we get customers to change. And I think it's because the messaging's wrong. If we go in saying we're going to take something away, we're going to switch something off, it's a problem. We need positivity around this, don't we? And I think one of the biggest problems, I think, has probably come from all of us as a community. This is a slide I nicked from our product team. Sorry, Martin. I love this slide, Martin, wherever you are. I love it, but it spells out part of the problem, doesn't it? Because what this is saying is over here, we got all this copper stuff. Line rental, WLR, ISDN, ADSL, FTTC, and all we got to do is, for absolutely no apparent reason whatsoever to the customer, because there's not a lot of benefit in doing it, we're going to switch all of that to this amazing new IP world over here, which might cost you a little bit more to do and cause quite a lot of disruption. Single line voice, Microsoft Teams, SIP, hosted voice, Sajia, and FTTP. You get the idea, right? It's a real problem. The challenge here, as we all know, is that customers need to do this. They need to do it, otherwise their businesses are going to fall over in a couple of years' time, but they don't want to do it. Right? We all recognise the problem. So what I thought I'd do is I'd spend a bit of time going right up to the top and talking to you about what customers actually do want. Because I think that's the really important thing. And if we can understand what they want, and then we can sneak into it what they need to do, I think then we've got a winning message and something that we can win with and that we can grow with. So let me dive straight in, and I'm going to go right to the top. And these next slides are from very current research. Analysis Mason, from Canalys, from their recent conference, and also from Gartner. So I want to start right at the top with, so if you're trying to understand what a customer needs, my assumption here is that most of you, your core customer base is SMB. I mean 250 employees and less, right? That's kind of, you know, that's the rich territory, I think, for most of us in terms of our businesses. Now, just remind ourselves about the SMB market. It's a really, really important one in the UK. We know that. 50% of UK GDP comes from SMBs. 60% of all employment comes from SMBs. And if we look at the overall spend that businesses make on technology in the UK, every bit of spend from every business, 44% of it comes from SMBs. So it's a really, really important technology sector. If we look in the middle there, because this is actually global numbers from Canalys, what they're saying there is that SMBs this year are spending over $2 trillion on IT, tech, all of the stuff that we know about, and it's growing at 3% a year. Not very exciting growth at the moment. I'll talk a bit about that later because it kind of comes back a bit. But the reason I'm showing you this slide is because what it does is it chunks up the SMB spend into categories. Now, that's a proxy, right, for any one of your customers. So if you go into any one of your customers, the chances are that their budget, their wallet, is split like that, okay? So the average SMB customer spends 43.6% of their wallet on telecom services, the things we've got to switch off, the things we're here to talk about today with all IP. 43.6, really, really big category, the biggest category of spend for SMBs. Second one, IT services. This is good news for us, isn't it? But this also includes their own internal staff costs. 25.1% they spend on IT services. Third one, software, 13.9%. Smaller than enterprise. SMBs are only just getting the hang of software now and getting really excited about it. But 13.9% of their wallet spent on software. 10% on devices, printing, imaging. Look down there, look. Only 3.9% on infrastructure, 1.6% on unified comms, and 1.5% on cybersecurity. Why do I show you this? Because if you take a product lens on life, that would tell you that the most important thing in the world to an SMB is telecoms. The most important thing in the world, because they spend 44% of their budget on it, don't they? It's the most important thing. It must be hugely strategic. So when we go in and we tell them you've got to switch it all off and switch on, they should be right on it, go, oh God, yeah, I've got to do that. We all know it's nonsense, don't we? It's also nonsense Because there's something like cybersecurity, it's only 1.5% of the money that they spend. But how important do we think cybersecurity is for SMBs? It's really important. So we can't take a product lens on this. I just want to flip up something else. This is the lens I think that we do all need to take. So what these red things are compound annual growth rate forecasts for the next 5 years for these bits of technology. Telecom services, not growing very fast really, 1.9% growth. As we do these switches that we need to do, there's a little bit of growth, but not a great deal. Devices and imaging and printing is having an awful time since COVID. Everyone's refreshed their devices, really slow growth, only growing at 1%. Good old unified comms, they're actually only growing at 3%, which is a bit of a surprise. A lot of substitution going on there. What it does tell us is what customers are really interested in. What are SMBs focused on right now is this one, software. They're getting really excited about software. They're getting really excited about what software can do for their business, how it can transform their business. Interestingly, the compound annual growth rate there for software includes on-premise software, 13.3%. If you take on-premise out and you look at cloud, the growth rates are way above 20% for SMBs for software. Really, really exciting. But of course, when you deploy software, what are the other things you need? You've got to make sure it's secure. That's why you're getting these big, high growth rates in security. Again, that security number includes on-premise and cloud security. Cloud security up in the 20% plus growth. And last but not least, this is the really big opportunity, because when SMBs take cloud solutions and they take security solutions, what do they need? They need a builder and they need a servicer, and that's us. And look at that growth rate there. They haven't got the skills in-house to do it, 8.6% growth. Yeah, get the point. So what I now wanted to do was just kind of go off that again a bit more and just think about, well, what's actually happened with SMBs over the last few years, since 2019 and since we've gone through the horrors of the pandemic and out the other side. What's happened that's caused this change? So if we cast our mind back, and gross generalization alert, this won't apply to all customers, right? Gross generalization, no apologies. Back in 2019, SMBs were spending a lot of money on technology. Average worldwide growth of SMB spend was 7%. They were spending a lot of money on tech, but they were doing it, I would describe, in quite a tactical way. So you go back then, they might buy a telephone system from a telco reseller. They'd get an IT service desk, a support contract from an IT reseller. They might go to a vendor to buy some software with a credit card. They walk down the high street and buy a laptop from PC World. It was a very they spent a lot, but it was a very, very fragmented supply chain. It was one of the key reasons why, when the pandemic happened, a lot of SMBs were woefully equipped to cope. Yeah? Why they found it really hard to be able to move into that paradigm of everybody working from home, but they did it. Lots of government support came in, and they did it. They found mobile devices, they found laptops, and they managed to successfully get home. They set up IPVPNs, and we survived. And then, of course, the pattern over the last 2 or 3 years has been about realizing that fundamentally work has changed for SMBs forever, and structurally building the solution that enables them to run that way. That's what remote IT is, okay? So SMBs are now saying, we recognize that the world of work has changed forever. I need a modern workplace, and I have to have remote IT, because that's the only way. I cannot live with my data and my application sat on a server under a desk that I can't get a hold of, right? I just can't do it. This applies to every single SMB out there. But what they're also finding, which I think is the really exciting opportunity for us, is that those old supplier relationships that they had are not fit for purpose for what they need to do moving forward. Yeah? So they need cloud builders. They need people that can do security. They need people that can build unified communication solutions that help their customer services to get better. That's what they need, okay? Now, if I summarize that, I think there are 4 key things here that we're talking about. So the first one is technology adoption. SMBs now rely on technology more than they ever have. Every SMB you talk to would say that. Now, they wouldn't have said that before the pandemic. Technology is absolutely key to their business continuity and to giving them peace of mind. If it falls over, their business is in big trouble. Second thing is, the world of work has changed. There's complete acceptance of hybrid work. I think we'd all acknowledge that. The third one is, and it goes alongside these things, remote IT is now the paradigm. Cloud and remote IT are not nice to haves. You have to have them. You have to have them. And what that leads to is a realization that SMBs do not have the partnerships in place today that are going to enable them to do that. They're looking for a strategic partner. Now, you know, I could just spout that at you, go, yeah, right, Nathan. But I found some really great research from Analysis Mason that they've done very recently, a big worldwide survey that really anchors this last point about strategic partnerships. I just want to share with you 3 bits of data that hopefully will bring this to life. So the first thing is, so this was a question about SMB IT spending priorities. It was like, you know, what are your biggest IT spending priorities at the moment, Mr. SMB customer? Look at the top there. Number one, cybersecurity services, maybe no surprise. Number two is a big surprise. IT and managed services is the number 2 priority. Number 3, infrastructure. Remember how small infrastructure was as an SMB category before? And that's about cloud infrastructure, okay? What I find really fascinating about this is if we go back to when Analysys Mason did this survey in 2019, look how it's changed. So that kind of tactical buying that SMBs were doing, buying software, buying comms, buying devices, but buying it in a very fragmented way, no mention of managed services, has changed. And that's now the SMB spending priority. It's a shift to managed services, and it's a shift to cloud services. Second point of evidence about this move to strategic partners. As part of the research, Analysys Mason asked this question. They said, have you changed your channel partner in the last 6 months? I was amazed by this one. So this was done in July, August this year. 22%, nearly a quarter of all SMBs said, yes, I have changed my primary supplier. Now, when you go back to 2019, that equivalent period before the pandemic, it was only 5%. There is a mass switching going on. SMBs are looking for new partnerships and strategic partnerships to take them there. And look at when they're asked the reasons why they got rid of their old channel partner. What was the reason? Number one, their IT provider, their incumbent IT provider, had a lack of vision and strategy. They didn't feel they could take them forward. Number two, product service options were too limited. Didn't have the breadth and the depth to take them forwards, with their portfolio and their capability. Isn't that interesting? Last stat for you, to underline this point about strategic partnerships, because when they did that, asked that question, they also asked when you switched, what type of partner did you switch from to? And this was the result. So what we're seeing here is quite a big trend. A big shift away from going direct to the vendor, a big shift away from resellers, and a big shift away from retailers. Telcos have gained a little bit, which obviously the telco people in the audience I'm sure will be happy about, but look at the big gain here, managed services providers. So we're actually seeing it come through in very extensive research by big analyst firms. This is happening. There is a big shift going on to strategic partners, and that categorization of that is managed services provider. Now, you then say, well, what is a managed services provider? Because anyone can call themselves a managed services provider these days, can't they? What is it? Well, I wanted to try and help out there because so we're in a lucky position at Giacom, right? So we've got 4,500 partners that buy on our platform, and we see the transactions and we see the type of products that you're all buying on our platform. And what we can see is which partners are really growing and which partners are maybe not growing quite so quickly. When we look at the partners that are growing fastest, what are their characteristics? And I've tried to write it on this slide. It's a bit of a clumsy slide, but I'll try and talk you through it. This is like my blueprint for a digital MSP, for that strategic partner I'm talking about. And I want to give you their pitch. So what they're saying to a small business customer is they're saying, I get that all this IT is really complicated, it's all over the place, you've got lots of different suppliers, I'm going to do it all for you. I'm going to take all this problem away, I'm going to give you peace of mind. For whatever the number is, £300 per user per month, I'm going to do everything for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you modern communications, switched off communications, FTTP, and so on, right? So not old products, on a subscription basis. I'm going to give you cloud services, mostly based on Microsoft 365 and the kind of Microsoft infrastructure stack and Azure and AWS, those cloud services, and also hardware, but hardware on a subscription basis, whether it's phones or laptops or devices or whatever, all packaged together into a subscription service that goes out to the end customer with a bunch of services around it to look after and help with the migration. And this is where these MSPs are really differentiating, really well thought through professional services to help with migrations and with training and advice and that sort of stuff. Brilliant managed services to run and operate this stuff, to give the SMB peace of mind. And last but not least, security backup and recovery services. If things do go wrong, you're there to help and to fix it. That is a really valuable proposition to the SMB. And over here are the benefits that are being sold as part of this proposition. New ways of working, customer service to rival large competitions, doing more with less, automation, potentially AI in the future, getting value out of data and staying secure. Okay? These are the value propositions. So again, what I'd urge you to think about as you're going through today, and as the various panelists are talking about their products and services, how can I bake it into my managed service that looks a bit like this? The switch off started like in 2018, OpenReach announced it. It was a long time ago. Right back then, I remember we were invited by OpenReach to come along and consult with them as a representative of the industry to talk about it. So we got involved quite early on. BT released their first FTTP service, and we made that available very quickly on our platform. So we've been doing this for quite a long time. back in 2019, we saw the changes coming in the market, and that was why we acquired Giacom, which was a Microsoft Tier 2 CSP at the time, operating a cloud market. It was why we acquired Union Street, because we recognized the world was moving towards subscription and billing, putting those things together and getting the tools in our business to be able to provide you with support and service as a modern digital MSP. That was what we were trying to do, and we started talking with the market about all IP, webinars and stuff. I hope some of you came along to those. It's all about products then, right? So BT Sagir was launched with a full automated end-to-end journey on our platform in 2020. In 2021, Vodafone joined the fray, so we could give an alternative out to our partners on OpenReach with their Sagir and their FTTP product. And we also launched the All IP Partner Pack to keep partners up to date. And that product has been kept up to date as we go. I'm sure they'll talk about it more today. We had a single line product come out in 2022. Long overdue, all those single line WLR things that we need to solve problems with, right? We've got that product there now, which is great. And then it's getting really busy now, isn't it? Exchanges have been starting to switch off and going, we've got to get all this stuff up. We rebranded to Giacom, yeah? So we took the three businesses and put them together into one brand to make it clear. More importantly than that, we launched our single cloud market experience. So on our platform, you can go there and you can buy everything you need across cloud, comms and IT as a digital MSP to deliver the services you need to your customers. That was what we did. One thing I just wanted to give a nod to was City Fibre. We think that City Fibre is really structurally important in the UK as an alternative to OpenReach. Yeah, really supportive of that. The City Fibre team are here today, and we've launched their FTT product with full end-to-end automation on the platform, so really worth checking out. And I think the other thing I'd just like to point out here, and I know is this one here about Teams Phone. So we're really getting behind Teams Phone. Lots and lots of energy going into that, lots of training, lots of collateral, lots of things to help enable you to do that. Our whole concept behind this is on one platform, you can get all the ingredients you need to deliver the switch off for customers, yes, but to deliver that all IP and business transformation, and all the enablement to help you to learn about the products, become self-sufficient in them, be able to take them and bake them into your managed services moving forward. Last but not least, customer projects team established to help with all IP migration. So we've invested in a dedicated team now, and we've created a managed service around it to help our partners to manage that migration, because we've got to get a move on. Yeah, so love to talk to you about that today. Last but not least, this is us on a page. I think I've probably done it to death, but if I gave you the elevator pitch for us, we are a value-added cloud marketplace. And on our cloud marketplace, you can get everything you need across cloud, comms, and IT from the world's leading carriers and the world's leading vendors to create brilliant solutions for your customers. That's what we are seeking to do as a 100% channel business. And what we pride ourselves on is choice on the platform, scale, which means we've got great buying power, which means you can make money out of selling these things, plus our access into the vendors and our access into, those things are really important for you to give you a voice into the vendors. Enablement for me is the most important thing. Today is about enablement, isn't it? But please, please, please use our capabilities. We've got a ton of people, a ton of brilliant collateral, loads of access into the vendors to get you trained up and get you skilled up and broaden out your portfolios so you can take that brilliant proposition out to market. That's what we're all about. And we're also about advocating for the channel. That's all we do. And we're trying to create opportunity for the channel wherever we go. So, just a quick summary of all of that stuff that I've cantered through. First thing, be under no illusion, SMBs have changed. It's not like it was in 2019. They're not buying point products. SMBs, what they're buying, they're after remote IT. Yeah, they want that, and they want a strategic partner to be able to deliver that solution with. The second thing is, when they choose their partner, they're going to prefer channel partners that have rich services and they have rich managed services. And what the research is telling us is that they will switch away from you if you can't deliver them strong vision, strong strategy, and a breadth and depth of solutions and products to take to them. Last but not least, use the great switch off as a great switch on. It is a great conversation, isn't it? They've got to do it in the next 2 years. We've got to accelerate that. But don't go in and just scare them with it. Go in and say, how does this work alongside a business transformation story? How can I help you deliver better customer service? How can I help you get more value from your data? How can I make sure you can sleep at night because your systems work and you've got security? Those are the propositions that are going to really rub with SMBs. And we're here to help at every step of the way. Great switch off is a customer switch off. Switch them on with all IP. Thanks very much for listening.